We're recording, Ellie? Good. Let's talk a little bit about Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh, which is good to talk about every day of the year, but especially at this time of year. Yom Yerushalayim being tomorrow night, the day that we celebrate and we give Hodat HaKadosh Baruch Hu for allowing us to live in a generation where Yerushalayim is could be a destination. Yerushalayim is a place that we have all experienced. An amazing quote I heard in the name of Rabbi Lichtenstein, who said that when Yaakov Avinu wakes up and he's had his dream, and he wakes up in Yerushalayim, and he says, "Ein zeki and Beis Elokim v'zeh Shar Hashamayim." It says, "Beis Elokim v'zeh Shar Hashamayim." It's just a nice one-liner. Was it Beis and Shar are two different things? Beis Elokim, Bayis, a house is a place you go to. A Shar is a place you go through. So what was it that he noticed? Ein zeki and Beis Elokim v'zeh Shar Hashamayim. Was it a Bayis? Was it a Shar? So Rav Aaron explained that it's both. Yerushalayim is a destiny, is a goal, is a destination. It's a goal itself, but it's also a shar. He noticed that it wasn't only a place to be spiritually uplifted at that moment, but it was a place to use that experience to be able to go further high, and to go further, and to go through. And really, every spiritual experience in our lives should be both a bias and a shar. It should be every shir that we go to, every davening that we daven, every spiritual moment we watch. And I recommend on sometime during your free time when you're not learning on tomorrow, Friday, there are so many wonderful videos about Yerushalayim on online. Whether it's about the 6-Day War, just watch the Harabayas Biadenu video, and just any of them, just to help appreciate, not just on an intellectual level, but really on an emotional level. But that's really what causes us to give a hodah. So as everybody should take our time to be able to connect. But use Yerushalayim, but use every experience both as a bias and a shar, to go to and to go through. What we're going to talk about is the chosenness of Yerushalayim. I checked my records last year before Yom Yerushalayim. We spoke about the kedusha of Yerushalayim. Today we're going to talk about the chosenness, Bechiras Yerushalayim. Why was it chosen? What makes it so special? What is unique in its existence? So there is a legend which has no source, which I have this like children's book about Yerushalayim, which I take out Shabbos before Yom Yerushalayim every year. So we went through a lot of the stories and riddles and trivia about Yerushalayim on Shabbos. So one of the stories there is two brothers. One brother has a lot of kids and not so much money. The other one doesn't have any kids, but he has a lot. And every night, heard this before? Everybody shake your head. Everybody heard this? One brother, one that has a lot of kids, says, "Oh, my other brother is so lonely. He has no kids to help him." And every night he used to go and bring straw into his brother's barn. And the other one says, "Oh, I have so much. My brother has so many kids. He needs help." So he goes every night to put straw in his brother's farm. And one night they meet each other on top of the mountain. They realize what's going on, and they hug. And Kadosh Baruch Hu says, "That's the spot. That's going to be my Beis HaMikdash." Wonderful. There's no basis or source for that story. It's a nice legend, nice Abbas Yisrael story. That's fine. You tell your kids the story before they go to sleep. But say it's not a Medrash. It's not a Zohar, right? It's not even a Yerushalmi, right? It's none of those three. You can always say it's a Yerushalmi, but it's like nobody's ever going to test you on it, except the few people that know Yerushalmi. But it's Yerushalmi. It's somewhere. But nowadays we have computers we could check. But either way, that's a nice legend. But let's try to figure out from the sources what makes Yerushalayim so special. So just by way of introduction, a number of general sources. The Medrash tells us in source number 1 that Yerushalayim is the center of the universe, like the belly button is the center of a person. Just like a belly button is in the middle of a man. Eretz Yisrael is the belly button of the world. Eretz Yisrael, and from that spot, from that spot, the world was created. Meaning, if you think about Earth is a circle. So how did Hashem create? Hashem created the spot of Makam HaMikdash, and then created everything expanding outwards from that spot. It's the Even HaShasiyah, stone that is the basis of everything. That is the source. It is the center of the universe, not just the center of the globe. But it's the center of the universe. The Sefer HaChinuch says that's why the Beis HaMikdash is there, because this is where Hashem started it all, and this is where the spirituality can be felt more than anywhere else. The Gemara in Zvachim tells us once Yerushalayim was historically connected to Am Yisrael with the Beis HaMikdash, so then spiritually, no more karbanos anywhere else. That is the final stop of Hashras HaShechina. The Shechina started on Har Sinai, went along to the Mishkan, wherever it went, and finally it came to Har Sinai, to the Beis HaMikdash, Yerushalayim, and that's it. It is the light of the world, right? Avram Fried made that medrash famous. Source number 4. Yerushalayim, Oro Shel Olam. Yerushalayim is the light of the world, right? It lights everything up. We might not see it because we have to have special eyes to see it, but it is Oro Shel Olam. There's something about the city that is Lamala Min HaTeva, inherent in the Bria, right? The Gemara says the Yerushalayim Shel Mal, Yerushalayim Shel Mata, right? Inherent in the Bria is something unique and special about Yerushalayim. When David HaMelech, we know the story, when he was wanted to buy the land for the Beis HaMikdash, what made him choose Yerushalayim? What made him choose that spot to move out of Hebron, where he was for 7 years, king, and go to Yerushalayim? What made him do that? It was some magnetic pull. It was some Mesorah, some pull, and that's the spot where where Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted it. Did I give you the psukim? I give you the psukim in Sefer Shmuel. I gave you the psukim. It's source number 8. Yavo God al David bayamahu, bayamarlo alei, came li Hashem mizbeach bagoran aravna. Bayal David kedvar gach hashem Hashem. Hashem, he sees a malach and he goes to that spot. Again, it doesn't explain anything about the spot. He moves his capital. There's something inherent about Yerushalayim that has nothing to do with human input. Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world from this spot. Hashem chose that spot before the world was created. But there was also something that happened at that spot very early in history that poured spiritual foundations into that spot forevermore. And that, of course, was Akedas Yitzchak. Kadosh Baruch Hu tells Avram Avinu, Kachna es Pinchas Yechidcha, go take your only son, not really your only son, Asher Ahavta es Yitzchak, Lech Lecha L'Eretz HaMoriah, Aleo Sham La'ola. Go perform the Akedah there. Right, Har HaMoriah, and you know it's the same spot, because in Divrei Hayamim it says that that's where the Beis HaMikdash was built. So, you know, the Akedah took place on that spot. Moriah is only mentioned 2 places in all of Tanakh, right here. Source number 9 and source number 10, by the Akedah and by the spot where the Beis HaMikdash was built. It's a beautiful Rambam. The Rambam tells us that spot where the Mizbeach took place is Mechuven B'Yoser. The Mizbeach is Mechuven B'Yoser. And that's why, even if, let's say, we have the ability and all the Arabs leave tomorrow, we can build the Beis HaMikdash and the Mizbeach. You can't build the Mizbeach without a Navi, because you have to know the exact spot where the Mizbeach needs to be. Says the Rambam in source 11. U'misoris biyad hakol. It's a Mesorah. The place where David and Shlomo built the Mizbeach. That's the exact spot that Avram Avinu built the Mizbeach. It was okay to Yitzchak. Noach. When Noach went out of the Teva, he built the Mizbeach there. Mizbeach shekar alav kayin behevel. Hikriv Adam Arishon Karban. Ishenivra. When Adam was created, he gave a Karban. One of the Ramban's rayas that Karban is something to do with Avodah Zarah. He's born, I'll give a Karban. You can't understand it. Why does that make Hashem happy? Kachazeh Adam, Kain and Hevel, Noach, and the Akedah. So it's a unique spot. So our question is, what makes it so special? Yes, there is something inherent about it from before the world was created. But maybe, as we'll see, the Akedah itself injected into Yerushalayim certain elements, and that could also help explain its spiritual status, spiritual nature.
And drawing, which is there again. Okay.
What? what? Help explain its spiritual status and nature. And if we learn messages of the Akedah, 3 of them to be specific, that itself can help us understand uniquenesses about Yerushalayim as well. So here we go. What is Yerushalayim? Not just Mitzad Hashem. But what did the Akedah put into that spot that we can learn from forevermore? Number 1, Rav Dessler writes in Michtav Melio, source number 12, Chelik Beis, Avram Avinu had unfathomable Mesiras Nefesh to attempt to perform the Akedah. With 3 contradictions that he had to deal with in order to overcome, to be able to do the Akedah. Number 1, says Rav Dessler, source number 12. Avraham recognized that by performing this act, he is going to undermine and ruin every single thing that he has accomplished in his professional life forever. What has he done his whole life? No child sacrifices, one God, none of this type of avoda. Who gier gerim, erlem lishmar derech Hashem, chesed, tent open. That's what his life was. We made me that's a chesed. V'lachem neged avodas elilim to darsha krovas b'nei adam. And what is he going to do in one fell swoop, one fell moment? He's going to undermine everything he's ever accomplished in his life. One challenge he had to overcome. Number 2, in each one of these is unfathomable. Hashem promised him that this won't be. Hashem promised him, this child is going to be a nation. Hashem says, kill this child. What? After it was done, he asked Hashem to explain. Not only, would it ruin his life's work, it would ruin his life, it would ruin his legacy, what was already promised by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And finally, says Rabbeinu Bachai, he was going to have to overcome the unbelievable love that he must have had for his son at this moment. Try hard to fathom. Top of the next page. Be'inyan zeh shel ha'akedah, hera Avraham tokif avaso b'shem yizbarach. With this act, he showed the unbelievable love that he had for Hashem. You can imagine it. And he saw in there were 10 tests. This was not like any other tests. Nature can't fathom. Can't even imagine, says the Rabbi Bachai. 100-year-old man. 100 years old. Didn't have a child. And he has Osher, Nechasim, and Kavod. He needs a son. And finally he has a son. Think about how much he loves that son when that son is born. Imagine when he's 8 days old. The love is just building. And imagine when he's 5, when he's 10, when he's 35, when he's 37 years old, he has a relationship with him. He's learned Torah with him. He's helping him with his spiritual perfection. And now Hashem says, kill him. What does that do for somebody who spent his whole life of love? Imagine the natural love that Avraham had for Yitzchak. And he has to overcome that. Overcome the love. Overcome his life's work. Overcome a tzivui. You know what Akedah was? Unbelievable Mesiras Nefesh for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what Avram implanted in that spot. He even did a bizrisus. I gave it to you. I'll give you the next, no, I didn't give it to you. He woke up early in the morning, Vashkim Avram Aboker. He was okay with it. I think I pointed out one of the underappreciated sukkim in all the Torah. All right, what is that? Yashkim Avram Aboker. Avram wakes up in the morning to do the Akedah. He was able to sleep the night before. He woke up. Imagine when we have difficulties and challenges, something that we're not going to want to do the next day. We can't sleep. Avram slept like a baby. Because he knew this is what Hashem wanted. That unbelievable conditioning of himself for the Mesiras Nefesh, that's Avram Avinu. And that's what he implanted in Yerushalayim. The ability to be able to be Moser Nefesh for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to recognize that my life has to be governed for what Hashem wants. An amazing story, you might have heard it, about one of the heroes of our generation, Natan Sharansky. I mentioned this before. Might have mentioned this earlier, maybe on a Wednesday night cheer. Before he went into incarceration, read about him and realize how amazing his life has been. When he was going to go into incarceration in Russia, his wife gave him a Tehillim. She said, "Take this." He didn't know Hebrew. He didn't know what it was. His wife said, "Take this." He took it, never let it go. He never let that Tehillim, leave his hand, leave his pocket. He went on. They wanted to take it away from him. He went on a hunger strike. He didn't know why. He's such a super mathematical genius. Somehow he taught himself a language based on mathematical equations and the letters. I don't understand how it did it. I have no idea. But somehow he taught himself Hebrew through how the letters appeared in words. And he writes the first letter, the first pasuk that clicked, Nafal ha-simon, as it says in this, as we say. The first pasuk, because this is there's something inside of me. P.S. Postscript, and it's online. Gal Ziegler teaches Tanakh in Yerushalayim. He says she was once on a Friday in the bakery waiting for her challah. It's online, and she sees right in front of her online, it's Natan Sharansky. And she turns to him and says, "Can I ask you something?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "I teach Tanakh, and whenever I start the semester, I always tell the story of you and your Tehillim, and you were so connected to it, and you were Moser Nefesh for it." He reaches into his pocket, and he shows her the Sefer Tehillim. She says to him, "You carry it wherever you go?" He said, "No, I don't carry it. It carries me." That's the concept of Akedas Yitzchak. The concept of Mesiras Nefesh. A city that you walk the streets of Yerushalayim and you feel connected. That comes from the Akedah. Mesiras Nefesh for HaKadosh Baruch Hu and living a life of Avodas Hashem. That's one thing we have to take out of Yerushalayim with us every single day of our lives. I'm going to skip a couple of sources. We go to the second idea. Go to the end of the bottom of page 5. There's another element that the Akedah represents for us. And that is the clarity of communication between Hashem and man. The Rambam writes in the Moreh Nevuchim, Avram Avinu could have understood or misinterpreted the commands of the Akedah very easily. Yeah, he didn't really mean to kill him. He meant to kind of maybe nick him. Maybe he meant to go on a tiyul with him, bring him up to the Mizbeach, and he could have interpreted it in many different ways. Avram, when he came to Yitzchak, Dad, maybe he misunderstood. He promised, I'm going to be the inheritor. I'm not so sure. Maybe, you're over 100 years old. Maybe you're losing it a little bit. Nothing. Clarity of communication between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and man. That's what the Akedah symbolizes. Point number 2. B'inyan Hasheni, says the Rambam in the Moreh Nevuchim, L'hodia usanu. Eich yaminu hanavim be'emes ashi yavoam eis Hashem b'nevuah. Don't think that prophecy is not real. Don't think that prophecy is not actually man communicating. Think about it. One of the Animamins, if you were writing the Animamins, some of them I think we would have written. Schar v'onesh, belief in God, Olam Haba, Mashiach. One of the Animamins is Nevuah. That's so important. If you were writing the Animamins, why is that so crucial? That Hashem, has Nevi'im. We'll get to that in a second, but let's first finish the Rambam. The Rambam says, Haraya al zeh, What's the biggest raya of the clarity of communication? Iskim Avraham l'shchot no yichido asher ahav Moshe Tziva v'yavo pisha isa mitzvah hi b'chalom b'mara. Avram Avinu. This wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu. He saw it in a dream. If he would have had any doubts of that communication, he wouldn't have done it. Lo hayu v'lu hayu neviim misupakim b'chalom shel nevuah. Hayat slam safek mashe yesigu ma'nevuah lo yemaskir lasos mashe yimana'eyu ateva. Lo yemotzi benafsho lasos zeh ha'maisa agodo misafek. And he did it. That reflects clarity. That reflects that nevuah is a close connection between man and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And why is it so important to know this? Because animam and b'emunah shlema, that man and Hashem have a connection and a communication line between them. One of the most beautiful thoughts that Rav Soloveitchik ever wrote, in my opinion. I mean, there's a zillion that I don't know. But I shouldn't say that. One of my favorite thoughts, that I could say because that's pretty subjective. One of my favorite thoughts that Rav Soloveitchik ever wrote was in Isha Emunah in source 20, where he discusses where was tefillah born. Everybody davens, right? Adam daven, Avram, they all daven. But when was the text of tefillah created? We know the Anshek Tzagadola. Why dafka then? Why were they the ones to formalize and formulate tefillah? Says Rav Soloveitchik, and we'll see his words inside in a second. They realized, right, this was the beginning of Bayesheni, the end of, they realized Nevuah was finishing. They realized that there would be no more prophets. Is that going to mean that Hashem doesn't communicate with man anymore? Is that going to be the end of the communication lines? They did not. They could not accept the reality, and man and God would not have a conversation. So they created tefillah. Tefillah is a hemshich of nevuah. When nevuah ended, tefillah started. So what does that mean? A conversation takes two people. There's always one person talking, one person listening. Nevuah and tefillah are the same exact idea. It's just that by nevuah, Hashem is talking to us. By tefillah, we're talking to Him. I don't think he says this, but I'll add. And that's also part of the animamin. Animamin that of nevuah. Part of that animamin of nevuah is the yesod of tefillah, that we talk to Hashem. And man, and Hashem listens to us. That's a conversation. And He communicates with us sometimes too. Writes the Rav in source 20. Follow shal davar. Tefillah v'nevuah. Im shtei agdaros nirdafos. They're similar concepts. We do siach hanose ofi shal brisbein elokim ba'adam. Tefillah satfillah nolda. When was tefillah born? Ba'osa shah mamish b'shekila sanevuah higil l'kitza. When nevuah ended, tefillah started. Kashekila satfillah bala olam haruach shel Yehudi hakadum v'miras kila sanevuah el entzichota. Tefillah didn't substitute; it continued prophecy. Atfila hi hemshich shel nevuah. That's unbelievable. Only difference is who's talking. And that's the second yesod of the Akedah and of Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim represents clarity of communication, a place where we can talk to Hashem and Hashem can talk to us. Something very fascinating. There is probably, if there was a famous unkelist, it would be this one, right? In Parshas Bechiras, on the words Hashem created man and made him, Vayi Adam v'nefesh chaya, right? Man is a live person. What does unkelist say there? He havis la'adam, source 21, ruach ma'malala. Who's a talking spirit. Nefesh chaya means a talking spirit. What makes man unique is that he talks. Think about it for a second. When man was created, who was he talking to? He's a talking spirit. There's nobody to talk to. He's the only one in the world. He's a talking spirit, but its essence is to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's who man is. It's a need. Right? When a person is alone in the house, some of us have a lot of time in our houses these days. If somebody's alone in the house and you bang your shin, what happens? We scream out. Who are we screaming at? Who are we talking to? If nobody's home, we're the only one home. Why are we screaming out? Oh, it's a knee-jerk reaction. Which Baruch Hu put into us. That we cry out. Cry out. I mentioned this before. It's hit me in the head just to add this. In every language, there's a different word for father. Father, Abba, Tata, right? Every language, different ones. Different word for brother, different word for mother, it's the same shorish in every language. Mommy, Ima, Mama, maybe you know some other languages, which I don't know. But it's all the same shorish. Ma, Ama. Why is that? Muna. Ultimate trust is a baby with a mother. The mother is the life, is the reliant. The baby trusts the mother for sustenance, for protection, for anything. That's the ultimate purest reliance on another is a child to a mother. And it flows from our trust, our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Emunah has aim in it. And that connection is part 2 of what we feel in Yerushalayim. The direct connection, I gave you a Chaim, that Tefillah is Amidah L'fnei Hashem, source 23. But I also like the diak that we've mentioned, 22. Remember that Gemara, that Yitzchak Avinu is bargaining with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, trying to protect Klal Yisrael. And Hashem goes to Avram and to Yaakov, and ends up going to Yitzchak. We mentioned this often. I'm not going to read it again inside. Yitzchak's bargaining, and he says, come on, Hashem, how much did they sin? Half the time they were sleeping, so take off, 35 years, only 35 left. And then half the time they were busy with their human basic needs. What's in the Gemara? What are the basic human needs? Eating, drinking, bathroom, davening. That's considered a basic human need. Because man communicates with God. And Hashem communicates with us. And that's the second idea of Yerushalayim, right? Yerushalayim is called by Yeshayahu, Tefillah Yikare L'chol Ha'amim. The essence of the Beis HaMikdash is the Beis Tefillah. The place to connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All tefillahs, as we know, throughout the world. All tefillahs go derech Zoom, Yerushalayim, and go up there. We zoom through Zoom for the original Zoom. Original Zoom is we dive in towards Yerushalayim. That's where the tefillahs go out. Number 1, Yerushalayim, is about Mesiras Nefesh, Avram Avinu. Number 2, it's about direct clarity of communication between man and Hashem. Last message. Third message. Rav Meidan, the Rav in Gush, he has an article about Yom Yerushalayim. So he writes there, source 26. Lekach nosaf shall see perzeh urachmei Hashem agdolim al amo Yisrael be'esha ma'alchelas omedas al tavaram. The knife was above Yitzchak. It looked like it was going to happen. And at the last second, Hashem says no. It symbolizes, no matter how bad things look, no matter how dark, Yerushalayim has the power to give the feeling to a Jew that Baruch Hu ultimately is going to be there for us. Afilu cherev chada, even though, remember, Gemara in Brachos, Chizkiyahu didn't want to have any children because he saw that he was going to have a terrible Russia. Menashe was going to be born to Chizkiyahu. Menashe, one of the Rishon kings, committed murder. All these. He didn't want to have a child. He didn't want to have a baby. So Yeshayahu says, "Okay, you're going to die." Like, what do you mean? I see this b'nevuah. Yeshayahu says, "Don't worry about hidden things about HaKadosh Baruch Hu." He says, "You have to do what you have to do." He says to Yeshayahu, "Okay, let me marry your daughter. Let me marry your daughter. Maybe your schus and my schus will help." Yeshayahu says, "The gzeira has already happened." Our nigzer alecha gzeira. Marley says Chizkiyo HaMelech Ben Amotz. It says to Yeshayahu, Kalein V'Oschem would say, stop saying prophecy if that's your attitude. Achmu Kubani B'Beis Avi Abba. Afilu Cherev Chada Munachas Al Tzavor Shel Adam. Even if a sword is on a person's neck, the Iman Atzmam and Arachim and don't stop davening. Don't think there's no hope. Interesting, that imagery. Where did that imagery come from? A knife on a neck? I'm a foolish, but sounds like the Akedah. That's the third message that we take with us from the Akedah. No matter how dark things seem and how difficult, Kadosh Baruch Hu is always there. Hashem delivers us at the end. All Geula throughout our history has been preceded by a very strong, intense period of darkness. The Rabbi also writes, source 28, right? If you think about Rus and Tamar, all these stories of David HaMelech's lineage, all about darkness, all about not believing. Notes Lot, Baruch Hu is with us at the darkest of times. Even continues though, in the Sefer on Tisha B'Av, source 29. Think about Tisha B'Av and the 3 weeks and the 9 days. Think about that time period in history. It's somewhat ironic. When do we start feeling a little let up? When do we start feeling that the mood is changing a little bit? We have 3 weeks, 9 days, Tisha B'Av. And then what? When does it start to change a little bit? Tisha B'Av afternoon. We're already thinking about laundry. We're already thinking about music. Tisha B'Av afternoon. 1 second. Tisha B'Av afternoon. That's when the fire started getting even worse. Remember, Rabbi Yochanan in the Gemara, if it was up to him, you would say the 10th day of Av should be Tisha B'Av. So why Dafka? Why Dafka? The afternoon of Tisha B'Av? Says Rav Soloveitchik. Ironically, at the time that the fire got stronger, that's when we record. Just 1 second. So it's about Soloveitchik said Dafka on the afternoon of Tisha B'Av. It gets I don't remember exactly the last thing I said. It gets lighter. Why is that? Because explains the Midrashim until the last moment, until the moment that the fire started burning. Question was HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to punish those who really deserve punishment, meaning Jews, or was he going to take a mashkom? He's going to take a collateral because he was never going to break the bond that he had with Am Yisrael. So Dafka, when the fire was set to the wood and the stones, Dafka then we recognize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will never leave us. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu will always be with us. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even if Cherev Chadu Munachas Al Tzavor Shel Adam, will always stay with us. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky even writes, source number 30, maybe that's also part of throughout history, after a darkness, there's always some type of light. He writes, Hakamas HaMedina, right? The founding of the state of Israel, a few years after the Shoah. Where does that come from? Because that's the symbol of Yerushalayim. It's the symbol of hope, even in the greatest of darkness. So Yerushalayim for us, yes, there was something about it before the world was created, even before human beings affected that spot. But the Akedah, put into Yerushalayim, imbued in it, 3 other ideas for us also. Mesiras Nefesh, as Avram Avinu did for overcoming the 3 challenges. The connection we have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu through Nevuah, through Tefillah, the direct clarity, and the Siman that Hashem will never forsake us Even if you think about it and put it all together, the first idea is mitzad us, our Mesiras Nefesh. The third is mitzad Hashem. Hashem will never forsake us. And the middle one is about the connection and the communication that we have with each other. Finally, one last point. HaKadosh Baruch Hu kept it a secret. We know Yerushalayim is not mentioned in the Torah. First place the word Yerushalayim is mentioned is in Yehoshua and Perek Yud. Why didn't he tell them? Why didn't he show us? David HaMelech didn't even know where Yerushalayim was. So if you remember Rashi at the beginning of Lech Lecha, Hashem didn't show Avram Avinu Eretz Yisrael either. Why? L'chabava al baila. L'chabava be'inav. To make it beloved in his eyes. That was all of Eretz Yisrael. Maybe Yerushalayim as well. Yerushalayim as well. L'chabava be'inav. The more that we yearn for it. Avram Avinu yearn. Where is it? Where is it? Let me see it. Hashem wants us to yearn for it. The Siva Shalom writes in one of his Sfarim, the more we yearn for it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, okay, I'm waiting here, I'm waiting here. We say, Ki lishu'ascha kivinu kal hayom. Ki lishu'ascha. Yeshua is going to happen when there's this kivinu. The more kivinu there is. Let us take this week to remember and reinvigorate ourselves by recognizing the special qualities of Yerushalayim, to recognize what it means for us. Hey, Rabbi Hashem, we should all be zochet to go there soon, right, and not be quarantined, encapsulated, and all of these other words. Hashem, we should celebrate in Yerushalayim, Kodesh, in Hey, Rabbi Amen.